That group of people around me, especially that trusted inner circle, I mean, without them, my ability to see the changes I need to make, have clarity on where I need to go, where I may have made a misstep, bupkis. Life is a team sport. And so that trusted circle, mentors, advisors, or even just the kind of friends who don't co-sign my bullshit, it's one of the most critical assets I have, especially when I need to course correct or, as today's guest counsels, pivot. Now, whether that's pivoting my personal growth, my business, my team, all of it. Lori Michele Leavitt is a coach, consultant, and author, and she's founded companies, she's led companies, and supported others in doing the same. Her latest book, Pivot to Clarity, is all about getting crystal clear on vision. And a huge part of that is about the people and the team around you, how you treat them, and how they behave as a result. The lesson that Lori has carried forward into her life, this lesson was an early one for her too. I'm Cathy Brooks, and this is Talk Unleashed. Lori, I really appreciate your taking the time to chat with me for Talk Unleashed. I asked you if you were posting a tweet. We asked if you were posting a tweet to explain what it is you do in the world. What would it say?
So one, I did post the tweet that you sent me. And the tweet about what I do in the world is I really care about orchestrating change. And I know that sounds so formal, but to me, it is my life. I mean, there's nothing super quick about change. You can make quick shifts, but changing is orchestrating, which means you know that there's going to be a time when things are tough and you're going to push through it because it's worthy to push through it. Mm-hmm. And when you're in that mindset of orchestrating, which I really hope to share with everyone, then you can get through the tough stuff. And certainly you need some attributes. I focus on 3, which is curiosity, tenacity, and courage. And, I try to boil these down to things that people will get and they can make their own that will get them through the tough times. There's one thing I shared in my book is that I had been through some tough times and I've learned these things. And, we want to share, when we learn things that we hope that others don't step in them.
So you call yourself the Pivot Catalyst, and you've worked with a lot of different organizations. You focus on leadership. Really helping leaders, supporting leaders in getting the direction clearly aligned, orchestrating that change, shifting the people, getting people connected to vision, knowing how their role fits strategies. You've written a book. This is great. It's all amazing. How did you come to this work? Tell me about how you got started. So we get out of college and you don't become a pivot catalyst, right. It's not like, oh, this is going to be my degree. This is what I do. So how you've been in the business world, at what point, take me to that point in your career path where you looked around and said, something's got to be better than this. Like, I see the problem that I get to solve. Take us back to that moment.
Yeah. And actually, I'm going to say it was more of a, what gift can I give? So I grew up as a creative. I grew up not having a lot of money, and so I would make gifts for people. Or I would paint and I would sell them. I would do something that was all from a place of gift giving. And can I build a business? Yes. And yet I really can't build something that isn't one of my gifts. And so what I realized early on, that I have that, and that I've known what I wanted to do, and then I've changed what I wanted to do. So I have pivoted all my life. And then over time, I realized that there were some sticky situations that I actually had the tools to solve, and I wasn't using them at the time. And I started thinking, why?
But I'm curious what you discovered. Because it looks to me, and from what you've said, you're on the other side of it. So what did you discover when you got those excavation tools and you went back to kind of start unearthing, like, where in my childhood did this begin? And why am I
Yeah.
behaving this way? And what is it that I actually want? What did you find?
Well, one, I didn't look back into my childhood, but two, I think one of the biggest points that I can share with others is that, and why I said having a circle, a good circle around you that includes those can truly advise you with caring and confrontation, is because when you're solo, you can have themes happening in your life. And unless you're very introspective, which thank God I am, it keeps repeating over and over.
Well, until the lesson
And
lands.
until the lesson lands. That's
Karma.
absolutely right. And I hadn't experienced this when I was younger. I didn't experience this until I was 50 years old. And I'm thinking, what on earth is going on? I didn't know what it was. Now that coincided, I became an entrepreneur when I was 40. So I guess I started in my 40s. And so one is that we can have themes that happen in our lives because of these blind spots. And we need to have objective people around us to help us with decisions when we're in a blind spot. Mm-hmm. So I made poor decisions during that time because it was so emotional.
Or you could say you made exactly the decisions that you needed to make in order to get the lessons that you needed to have in order to get where you are. So it's like the truth is, there is no decision, I think, that one can make in life, really, that's a bad decision. Air quotation. This is me with air quotation marks. There's a bad decision. That each decision, everything happens kind of how it's supposed to happen. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to like it. Those blind spots. So you've got the trusted resources around you. What really comes out of that for you, though? So it's like what really emerged? So you've got the trusted resources, great, but that doesn't mean the experiences stop.
Correct. And the other thing is you can hack that. So the other thing that I didn't have was a clear North Star. What do I absolutely want? Something not clear in that I knew how to get there, but clear in that it was a vision for what I wanted for me. Then you do make the right decisions, even if they're painful. But when you don't have that direction, how is the universe, God, however you see it, going to know what you want?
Well,
I may have been sending signals that's what I want. I don't know.
Well, vision is an interesting, there's the old adage, be careful what you ask for, because the universe is going to give it to you. Or, as I prefer to say, make sure you are very clear and explicit with the universe. Because when you get what you've requested from the universe, like you're the one that put it there. Like there's literally not a thing in my life. My favorite phrase that came to me in the last year through some coaching that I've received myself, that my life doesn't happen to me. My life happens for me. And which takes me to a word that you said before, which is a really important one, which is vision. So, Lori, what is your vision?
Right. And also you can feel it, can't you? Right? You can feel it when one my vision
I was going to say, don't avoid my question. That's an important question. What's your vision?
Is building a business. So everything I do, I talked about orchestration, but it's catalyzing momentum. That's what orchestration does. It catalyzes momentum. I do that in my life. I do that for others.
Mm-hmm. Why is that important to you?
It just feels great. When you're in momentum, flow, whatever you call it, when stalls feel horrible, stops feel horrible, momentum feels great, doesn't it?
Yeah. So when you are, I want you to envision a particular client that you have navigated, shepherded them through the navigation of this journey of finding their vision, pivoting to their growth, and that moment when all the cylinders click. It's like that last tumbler in a combination lock, or that last note in a really big harmony. What does that feel like for you in that moment of
Yeah. I mean, what a gift, right? I mean, I love giving gifts. I mean, that's why I feel like, wow, okay, score. That's, they created the gift for themselves. One thing I like about coaching, and I rarely coach one-on-one. I like to coach in these groups because even though I might provide a lot of knowledge, guidance, good questions, there is nothing more powerful than having others around you that have different perspectives right then that absolutely want you to be successful. And it's entirely confidential. And it's not about me being the coach. Not that I don't coach, every once in a while I will take someone on. But you can just see the energy that surrounds them, and I call it the ripple of positive influence in their leadership that they create. And I love working with leaders of organizations, from small to huge, because when they model that way, I mean, it touches everybody in the organization. And that is powerful. I might work with one person, or maybe usually it's like a senior leadership team. I mean, that's just, that's like much better than painting and selling. I mean, that is like